It is ultimately important for you to look at your goals, truly what you want to do in your life, and then look at the people who you spend the most time with in your life and figure out if that lines up.
All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Morning Perspective. We got my girl Patricia on here first. She's the first one to comment, and man, I think we all owe her a little happy birthday. I think it's a big birthday today, but I don't want to share just in case she doesn't want anybody to know. But happy birthday, Patricia. Thank you for all of your support and for tuning in every morning and becoming part of our family here that gets together every morning at 7:30. I hope you have an unbelievable birthday today, and I'm sure everybody else does as well. So today, guys, is Thursday, September 26th, and that means that we only have 95 days left to make 2019 the very best year that we possibly can. And man, we're on pace to do that here, that's for sure. We got 2 more reviews on iTunes yesterday. The number of views that this show is getting is consistently increasing. So I appreciate you guys. There you go, Patricia, the big 50. Man, happy birthday to you. Half a century, that's awesome. And just getting started, putting things together in life and figuring it out, right? She says, man, I'm more encouraged every single day, and I feel like I'm just getting started. I saw it in her post. So happy birthday, Patricia. We love you. So this morning's topic, guys, is what is leadership? What is the definition of leadership? And this is a really, it's a really interesting topic. I want to read you kind of what I researched on this. I try to simplify things to ground level, look at some of what other people say about things, and give you guys that perspective and then give you my perspective in addition to that. So I pulled this from something that was posted on the Gerald Ford Presidential Library website. It says, leadership is defined as a process by which a person influences others to accomplish an objective and directs the organization in a way that makes it more coherent and cohesive. A good leader is one who is always 3 steps ahead of others. They look out for the people before themselves. Interesting. And very, very, sometimes I read things and I will literally go back and read it like phrase by phrase to really understand it and dig into the meaning of those words. And if you guys go back and listen to that again, it's pretty deep. Or you can just Google definition of leadership, Gerald Ford Presidential Library, and that will pop up, and you'll be able to read it just piece by piece. But I want to focus on that last statement, and the way that they put it was he looks out for the people before himself. But we all know that in today's world there are some incredibly powerful female leaders as well. So I will say it differently, but for the sake of this, we'll just say he looks out for the people before himself. I think in today's world, it is unbelievable to me to see just how many leaders out there I don't think lead by the right code, if you will. And I'm going to talk about a book that one of my friends wrote here in a bit called The Leadership Code, but I don't think that a lot of leaders lead by this code. And so that spills over into a lot of different areas of life. And so for this conversation, for the sake of this conversation this morning, we're just going to talk about, what does leadership mean in your life? What does it mean in life to be a leader? And so I want to kind of run through a list of things that I wrote down this morning. Just a list of 7 or 8 things, some of the things that came to my mind first. I will start with this, guys. Being a leader in life is one of the most important things that you can do for the people around you and certainly for the world around you. Because if we don't have enough good leaders in this world, man, we're in trouble, because it takes a lot of leaders to move the world forward, to really get things moving in the right direction, and inspire people to be better human beings, to help each other more, to lend a hand, to be a good example. And you can kind of see it, right? In our world today, there's a lot of concern about the next generation and kind of how it's going, in what direction these youth are taking society. And the reality is, guys, we don't have anybody to blame but the previous generations. And it comes down to leadership. You cannot call yourself a leader in life and not do some of the things that we're about to talk about. I want to say hello to everybody here. Mike Rosgoni, what's happening, man? Good morning. Judd, my brother, good morning. Good morning, babe. I always laugh. My wife is like right upstairs, but she's always on here typing. But Linda Ann Barber, good morning. My man, Michael Nass, good morning to you. Frank, good morning. Trudy, Dina, Elizabeth, Trisha, Gary, Dean, my man, still holding it down out there in New Jersey. Wait till you guys see that job he's completing out there. It looks like perfection. It's the nicest paving job I've ever seen. Christina, if I missed anybody, I apologize. But let's jump back in here. So leadership, here's to me some of the words that I wrote down that I think everybody will agree with. But it's just some of these, and I'm going to expand on these after I go through the list here. But leadership to me is integrity, guidance, patience, inspiration, passion, communication, delegation, and I'm going to dig into that one, but it's delegation with trust, not just delegation. Accountability, both internal and external, so not just accountability to others, but accountability to yourself. Innovative, and empathy. But most of all, what I wrote down as the last bullet point is, it is pure and simple, a good example to others. And so let's dig through this list a little bit here. So integrity, and I didn't go look up the definitions of these words specifically in the dictionary, but I would encourage you guys to use the dictionary a lot more as you become adult. I think it's an underutilized term to really get back to the meanings of what these things are. The core meanings of the words that we use are really important. So I'm going to use, for the sake of right now, because I did not research these and line out every single dictionary definition of these, but I think everybody knows what integrity means, but integrity when it comes to leadership is doing the right thing regardless of the circumstances. And we talk about this a lot inside of my company, but one of the things that I say often when I'm coaching people is everybody has integrity and values until it's going to cost them some money, or until it's going to cost them some time, or until it's going to make them uncomfortable. And so remember this, guys, whether it's your children, the people that work around you, the people that you work with, people that are on the other side, business partners, other companies that interact with your company, if it's on the professional side, everybody is always watching. And so when you think that you can do something and you can cut a corner and you can not do something that you're supposed to do, and you're going to get away with that, or you're going to do something that's against the values that you set for other people to live by, and you're not going to live by them yourself. By the way, this is a big, big, big tip for parenting. Integrity as a parent is probably the most important thing that you can have. Lori and I have this conversation often about consistency, sending the right message, and staying true to our integrity as parents, regardless of the circumstances. Do you let your children get away with things when you are tired? When you're tired because you don't want to correct them, you don't want to take the time, you hear them doing something outside or in another room, and you don't want to get up and walk over there to correct them. Do you allow them to get away with things because you're tired? That's integrity, guys. It's doing the right thing, regardless of the circumstances. regardless. And everybody, by the way, knows what the right thing is. Nothing drives me more crazy in business than when we're having conversations and people try to act like they don't know what the right thing is. Well, I don't know. What am I supposed to do? Come on, man. Most of the time, you know. Most of the time. Unless it's something that's outside of your skill level or experience level, I think we're all inherently wired with what the right thing to do is. We just pretend that we don't know, or we tell ourselves some bullshit line. And by the way, guys, most of the time, when you are talking about something and you think that you're telling somebody a story about why you didn't do it or why, there's a lot of the times that I talk to other people and I chuckle and say, man, this guy or girl or whatever, whoever it may be, so I wonder if they realize that they're the only person that believes that. Right? So don't think that people don't notice. They do. And, you know, and it's just doing the right thing no matter what. And then if you don't do the right thing, just own it quick. That's integrity. All right? Guidance. Leadership to me is guidance. You know, it's guiding people down the right path. And by the way, leadership, you know, in your personal life, if it's with children or a friend or whatever, it's guiding, not pushing. You know, you're not going to force anybody to do what you want them to do. So it is guiding. I'll use this example. This is a story that many of you have probably heard, or an example many of you have heard. But you know, there's the story of the lighthouse and the tugboat, and this is really important. It's a really great example, an important example in leadership. The lighthouse and the tugboat serve the same exact function, right? Their function is to get ships safely into shore. But they do it in two completely different ways, and this ties into guidance, right? The tugboat pulls and pushes and exerts a lot of energy and force to get those boats where they want them to go. And the lighthouse serves the same purpose. It allows a path for a ship to come safely into shore, but it just stands there and shines a light. And so to me, leadership is being a lighthouse and not a tugboat. It is shining that light and guiding people and allowing them to develop. With your help, they will develop a lot faster. However, it is if you start to push, you will see a pushback. Every single push in one direction has a pushback in the other direction. It is about shining that light. It's not about pushing people. It's about guiding them in the right direction. And so guidance is a critical piece of leadership. Don't push, guide, shine the light, and allow people to follow. Patience. Anybody that has worked with me knows that I practice a lot of patience. I can't say that I'm perfect by any means. My wife could certainly tell you that at times I don't have enough patience, but I think I'm pretty good and I'm a lot better than most. And, you know, but I'm always working on that. You know, I want to be a person that is remembered for being a person that had patience. And, you know, part of my legacy would be trying to be remembered as a person that cared and had patience for people regardless of the circumstances. You know, no matter how bad it gets, to leave people with their respect when you have conversations and to be patient in situations because you never know what people are going through. And so I think patience is a critical piece of being a leader. Inspiration. This is a big one for me, as you guys might expect. You know, I think that the next two actually are ones that I try to hang my hat on as a leader and be an inspirational leader, right? To lend energy to people that they need to become better versions of themselves is really what leadership, it's a huge critical piece of being a leader. It's about pouring into others. You know, that one phone call. I see my man Nathan Walker is on here. He runs a big organization out in Indianapolis, and we've had several conversations. I know that cat is an inspirational person. And I would say that, you know, we all need reminders. Part of why I did this show this morning is I was evaluating myself. I started rereading a book that I'm going to share with you guys by John Maxwell, 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. And I thought to myself, like, man, there's some things that I need to brush up on. We all need to brush up on. one of those things for me is just making a phone call to plug in some inspiration to everybody on my team, everybody that helps us, whether that's subcontractors, people on our team, off our team. It's offering that little boost of inspiration. One of the things that I've been trying to focus on recently is explaining to people exactly what their talents are. What are their greatest talents, and how do those things really benefit our team? And it's that is inspirational to people, because a lot of people are never told what their gifts are, what their talents are. And so if you can be a person that can pull that information out of people, figure out what their gifts are, and lend that as inspiration back to them. Here's the deal, guys. I'll summarize it like this, and Ed Mylett talks a lot about this. Everybody knows what their gifts are. Everybody knows what they excel at the most. They have very few people actually recognize that and tell them that. And so that is incredibly inspirational to a person when somebody recognizes that special gift that they have, right? So be inspirational, be positive, check yourself, look at yourself in the mirror in the morning and figure out if you look like a person that people would follow. Because if you're looking in the mirror and you look like a person that's like kind of dragging their ass around every morning, then people aren't going to follow you. If you're grumpy, if you got shit going on in your life all the time, people aren't going to want to follow you. You have to clean up your own life to be able to lead others. Nobody wants to follow things that are hectic. They want to follow things that are disciplined, intentional, inspirational, passionate, that have integrity, all of those things. So the next one is passion. I think as a leader, if you can't bring some level of passion, and by the way, passion isn't rah-rah. It's not about, just being a cheerleader or talking loud or jumping around. It's about bringing passion and fire and intensity and care. Passion has a lot of different ways to look at it, right? It's not just passion in the way that typically people think about it. It's being passionate about your people, pouring into them, being passionate about your customers, about your values, your core values in your company, your vision. It's about having passion for life. And when life knocks you down, those people that follow you, seeing you, get right back up and stare it down and fix it. That is passion to me. Communication. Probably the biggest mistake that I see in business is the level at which people communicate with their teams, with each other, the level of transparency that they have about every aspect of business. Communication, guys, will make or break a family. It will make or break a business. It will make or break your life. Because if you keep everything tied up inside of you and you never really share the things that you think, the communications that other people need to hear, man, you're just gonna have a long go at it, trying to get people to understand you. And so communication as a leader, it's not just you communicating with your people, it's the encouragement of your people to communicate with each other. That includes your family, your children. If they're angry at each other, they should communicate. They should not throw tantrums, get upset, start, getting angry with each other and putting hands on each other. You should teach them to use their words and communicate. And when they do that, they start to understand each other better. If they don't communicate, then that 7-year-old girl of mine cannot understand why that 5-year-old boy of mine is upset with her. But if he can communicate and he can put it into words, she becomes a better sister, and he will be a better brother for having taught her that lesson. That's communication. And that's communication in business the same way as it is in personal. Delegation. Here's one that's got a big hook to it. I'm going to just put these 4 words together, and this will teach you what delegation with trust means. People learn, guys, by failing. And so if you delegate something to somebody and you want to go micromanage them and stand over their shoulder nonstop and watch what they're doing, that's not delegation, guys. Delegation is Giving them something and trusting that they'll get it done and allowing them the opportunity to make a mistake. That's how they get educated. They do not get educated by being micromanaged. My man, Frank Crinitti, what's happening, brother? That dude's killing it. He was in the gym late last night. Back at it again this morning already by 7-something. He's crushing 75 hard. Got a couple days to go. It is about empowering your people. You are absolutely correct, Frank. Empowering your people to do the things that you currently do so that you can go do bigger things and better things and pull the team up the hill. That's what they're looking for you to do. They're looking to take over your responsibilities so that they can feel more empowered. You can do different things, and you can take your business, your team to another level because you are entrusting and delegating to your people and allowing them to learn. People learn in a variety of different ways. One of those is by failing. So delegation with trust means delegating and leaving it in their hands regardless of the circumstances. I'm not telling you to burn your business to the ground watching somebody fail, but I'm telling you, give them some space to make some mistakes, and you'll be amazed. And by the way, when they make mistakes, use all of these other qualities that we're talking about. Patience, guidance, respect. Leave them with their respect when they make a mistake. Encourage them that you are proud of them for being brave enough to try something that was outside of their comfort zone. Accountability. Accountability is two ways, guys, right? So, as leaders, everybody has a real easy time holding other people accountable. It's accountability outward. You see a lot in leadership. And, here's what I would tell you. Accountability outward without accountability inward, it does not work. It does not work. It's called being a hypocrite. And if you are a hypocrite as a leader, I can promise you this. People might smile to your face, but as soon as they get off the phone with you, they're shaking their head and talking to somebody else about what a joke that was. Because if you do not lead by example, if you do not have internal accountability, and you're trying to implement external accountability with your team, with your children, if you tell your children in your house to do something that you don't do, guess what they start to do? They will lose respect for you as their parent. If you tell them that they have to do something, they have to clean up their plate after dinner, but you leave yours sitting there and you don't wash it off, then who are you? You are nothing but a hypocrite. And nobody wants to follow a hypocrite. So when you start to have problems, your children start not to listen, you can map it right back to exactly what you didn't do that you told them to do. Huge lessons here, guys. I'm telling you, this stuff is so simple. So simple, but it's so complicated to implement into life, right? And we all need a reminder. That's why I'm reading this book. This is like my third time through it because everybody needs a refresher. Innovative. If you are not always looking for a better way, a faster way, a way to serve your customers better, your employees better, to create communication, to standardize that communication so that the customer, the employees, everybody benefits, then what are you doing as a leader? You have to innovate. Innovate or die is a phrase that you will hear out there in business. Innovate or die. If you are not innovating in your business, somebody is going to pass you up and you will eventually cease to exist. If you are not innovative as a leader, your people will get bored following you. So you have to find a way to be innovative. Next one is empathy. If you do not have empathy with your employees, empathy and patience are so closely tied, right? But empathy, when things are not going right, let them know that you give a shit. That's rule number one. If they don't think that you give a shit, they will not follow what you say. And that goes, by the way, you have to give a shit whether you're having a good day or a terrible day. They come first. So empathy is understanding. It's taking someone's phone call when you don't have time to take it. People that don't answer the phone or say they don't have time, nothing, you can talk to anybody that's with me, that's around me a lot, nothing infuriates me more. I'm not saying I'm the busiest person in the world, but I would put my schedule against a lot of people. And I always have time for a phone call. If somebody has something that they need to talk about that's really important to them, I always have time for a phone call. If you don't have time for a phone call, don't be in leadership. Empathy is about meeting people where they are. If they're in a bad time, then you go down there and help them. If they're in a good time, meet them there as well. Be empathetic to every situation, right? Because people are going to go through all kinds of things in their journey of becoming better versions of themselves. So be empathetic. And most of all, last but not least, it is being a good example. If you don't do what you say, if you don't do what you teach others to do, I say this often, but opening Top Contractor School and coaching others on my process, what we believe, the sales process, leadership, all that kind of stuff. When I coach those people, I feel a much greater responsibility to do those things. I mentioned this on the show yesterday. When I talk about things on this show, it helps me. It holds me personally accountable to myself because I'm putting these lessons out into the world. If I don't adhere to the things I'm telling you guys are the right way to do it, what are you guys going to think of me? You're going to think I'm a hypocrite, right? And so it's personal accountability. It's being a good example to others all the time. All the time. So I've got a couple of books here that I want to talk to you about. So one of them is John Maxwell's 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. If you're looking for leadership books or content or anything like that, this guy, he's the holy grail of leadership. He's a great, unbelievable author, but he's got so many different books on leadership. And I'm going to give you one. I'm going to give you a plug. I'm going to give a plug to my boy, Britton Costa, who has written an unbelievable book called The Leadership Code. It has sold thousands and thousands of copies. But this is, the difference between this book and that book is I would call this the modern day version, right? Something that the younger generation can relate to. Not saying it's great for the older generation too, but there's a lot of critical information in here about leadership and just, kind of how to lead in today's world that's really, really beneficial. I want to go to the table of contents here and read you a couple chapter names. Run your race. Chase purpose, not paper. Gold digging. Lead by design, not by default. Get rich. Rich stands for realize I create happiness. Learn to be mentally tough. Flawless vision. Be a student. Water your garden. Roots, create your fruits. So some creative names there. We've got some stuff. Britton and I are working on some stuff that'll be coming out here shortly that will be incredible content that's tied to the lessons that are in this book. We're going to start a little program that helps people develop their leadership skills, and so that'll be coming too. But I would highly encourage you guys to pick up that book. You can buy it on Kindle. I think it's a couple dollars on Kindle. So by all means, pick that up. And I will leave you with this, guys. Something I just listened to this morning that says, where you place your attention is where you place your energy. Are you placing yours in the right place? So what are you paying attention to? I will tell you guys, yesterday, the work day had my attention all over the place. And so my energy was all over the place. I was just, not really dialed in, man. I was just bouncing around. I was getting thrown around. Lots of stuff going on, coming back from a trip to New Jersey. And so I would encourage you guys, when that happens to you, and I didn't do it yesterday, but I wish I would have, is just take a minute, reorganize yourself, write down what you've got to do, and kind of restart. Just restart your day. And you'll be much better off for having done it. And that's what I'm doing this morning. I'm reorganizing everything, getting everything ready for the day so that today is 10 times more productive than yesterday was. But I hope you guys enjoyed this morning's discussion. I think, these pieces of leadership, and we could talk a lot more about leadership because I think it's way underestimated in all of our lives. We're all leaders in some way, shape, or form. People look at business leaders or government leaders as leaders. You are all leaders, whether you like it or not. The question is, how good of a leader are you? And if you don't have a plan of how you're going to lead people, as I say often, no plan is also a plan. It's just not a good one. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. Please, by all means, share this out. I saw a bunch of you guys leaving comments and tagging some folks. I appreciate you doing that. That helps us build up the following of this show. And I firmly believe that building up the following of this show is going to make an impact and make people start their days better. And that's what we're looking to do. That's our mission. So as many people, like-minded people as we can get on this stream in the morning or watching this on the replay, let's do it, guys. Share it out to your pages. I am so grateful for all you guys that come to tune in here every single morning. A few of you left reviews. Thank you to my man, Bruce. Left an unbelievable review on iTunes yesterday. I appreciate you. Please go over there, leave a review on iTunes. Give me a 5-star rating for this podcast. Me and my guests that I have on. I am going to get this guy right here, Britton Costa. He is getting on this show whether he likes it or not. So that's I'll tag him in this, and then he can come back and watch it. But we're going to get him on this show. And, man, he's a gift. I'm telling you guys, he brings unbelievable. The word fire is used far too often in today's world. He brings the fire, as they say. That dude brings the fire. I can promise you. And he will not disappoint when he is on this show. And that's it, guys. I hope you all have an unbelievable Thursday. Let's make it an awesome day. I love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. And I will see you again tomorrow morning right here on Morning Perspective. Love you guys.